Hello. Give me just a second to get you guys pulled up on my iPad. It takes a minute for it to show up. Probably takes a minute for you guys too. Here we go. Hi, Mickey. You're the first one on, Mickey. Okay. I think that's good. Probably need to scoot that up a little closer. There. Hi, Mary. Mickey beat you again today. I am really looking forward to today's project. I have been super thirsty all day today. So I showed you guys a picture. I don't know. I have 4 of them sitting here in front of me. Uh-oh. Let me go get Scruffy back in here. Scruffy! Get in here. Scruff. Get in here. We're doing a live. No barking. Go lay down. Oh, there's the doorbell. That's why he was barking. Scruffy, come here. Scruff. Good boy. Go lay down. Good boy. Go lay down. We're doing a live, man. Scoot. Okay. Sorry about that. It was a package. Now I'm just trying to bring up the comments here. Mickey, don't you love these houses? I have 4 of them here, but I can't hold all 4 at the same time. But these were given to me. At least 3 of them were. I might have bought this one because this one's slightly different than the other 3. But these were given to me when I was visiting in Amsterdam. And when my girls were growing up, we had an exchange student live with us for a year, and she was from Amsterdam. And her whole family has come to visit a couple of times, and I've been there a few times. And it's honestly one of the most beautiful places. Hi, Jennifer. It's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. I love, love, love Amsterdam. And so the girl, Krista, was the girl who lived with us, and she worked for an airlines that was from Amsterdam, and I can't remember the name of the airlines because it's not one we fly here, but every year when they would have their annual Christmas party, they would give everybody that was at the party one of these, and these are collectors because they're only made once. And you can see they have little corks in the top of them. And that's because they were filled with some kind of liqueur. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Dorothy. Hi, Aliette. I hope I said that right. Hi, Maria. So all of these at one time had liqueur in them, and they were collectors because they would make one and then that was it. It was never made again. And so she and her mom gifted me 3 of them, which I just felt so privileged and honored to be given. That's why I think I bought this one at a gift shop, and there's no cork in it. There's a cork in the bottom, however, but there was no cork in the top of it, and so I think it was a little different. But the houses in Amsterdam are so distinctive. The architecture is so distinctive. And for instance, the house that her mom and dad lived in was like 300 years old, and it was like 3 or 4 stories high. I have pictures of it. And the staircase going up all those flights was one of those round circular, not the iron ones that we see all the time here, but this was like a wooden, very narrow staircase that just wound all the way up to the top. And there were canals in front of her house and canals behind her house. And it was just really a cool place. Just Amsterdam is a very awesome place. And if I get a chance to go back and visit again in this lifetime, I would do it in a heartbeat. So anyway, I have a lot of Delft China because you guys know I used to have a ceramic business of my own. And so when I was there in Amsterdam, I went to Delft, which is a small town in Holland, and that's where the Delft China is made and manufactured. So I went and visited there and saw their whole operation, and that was really interesting because nothing has changed. They were doing everything exactly the same as I was doing, only their kilns were a lot bigger. Their kilns were like big walk-in kilns, where I had 3 kilns, but mine were, like you reached down and had shelves and built things up. So anyway, all that to say, this is what I'm going to start working on today. And so I've decided I'm probably not going to use the Christmas tree because number one, it doesn't fit on here. And if I decide to put a tree on, I'll just use one of those pretty stamps and stamp a tree because there's trees that are small enough. I'm on the fence. I don't know if you guys have seen these. They were you saw them all over Facebook a lot this time last year, where the mold company is LaBlanche. I don't know what country that's coming from. It's from Europe. It's not a US company. And the molds were really hard to come by last year. I was really, really lucky to actually get any. But some of them that I saw, they did like squares like this, but they filled the whole entire square up with all of these really cool little houses. And so I may or may not do that. I haven't decided yet. I have some more houses made in case I decide I want to do that. And I'm going to use, this is from an old antique music book. I think it was for violin. It might be different instruments. I'm not really sure because I don't read music. But anyway, I got these in a thrift store. And that's another thing that I look for in thrift stores. And these are like real thrift stores, not like Goodwill, but like when you can find a really good, like real thrift store. I always look through the books and stuff because I love old dictionaries that have little pictures in them. And I love music books because sheet music is always really fun to use. So I was thinking about what I was going to do for the background, especially because I have so much background here. That's why I might do more layers. But anyway, I'm going to decoupage the music sheets on the background. So then it's just not going to matter what I decide to do going forward. And the music sheets, then I will also paint like I'm going to paint them blue, but they're not going to, I don't know. For sure I'm going to paint them blue, but they're not going to be like blue in your face blue, like a sky that's turning dark, but not dark. That's what I plan on doing. So the first thing we're going to do is decoupage this. So I need to get all of these little houses out of here. And I made these little houses with FormFlex Compound. I love that. If I'm not using resin, I'm using the FormFlex Compound. Let's see, I need another tray. I always get such a nice, clean, very clean lines, lots of detail, and an easy release out of those. So, and I put the link for FormFlex in the details. So, one sheet isn't big enough for this whole thing. So I have a second sheet here, and I don't want to, oh, I'm thinking you guys are down and you can see what I'm doing. Hi, Catherine. Okay, so I was just busy chattering along. So one sheet isn't big enough for the whole thing. And so I have a second sheet, and they are slightly different notes than this sheet. And I don't want to do like this. I don't like that at all. So you see me oftentimes tear up my pieces. And when you do that, it sounds counterintuitive, but when you do that, then you get a really uniform look. So I'm looking for a good brush because I like to use, well, this one will work. I like to use these watercolor brushes. Trying to get it there. See how they're round tip on them? I like to use these kind of brushes because they hold a lot of water when you stick them in your water. And normally, I need to brush this off because I don't know what I got inside here. Normally, I would paint this background white before decoupaging. But when I lay this paper down on here, this paper is so thick, it's not like regular tissue paper or decoupage paper. So I think I can get away without painting the background white. I just don't think it's going to make one bit of difference on here. And for the outside here, I don't know yet what I'm going to do for the outside. I did make some out of the Christmas tree mold from IOD from last year. They have like a garland. And so I did go ahead and make some garland to maybe put on there, and then there's a small one to go down here. So it's a work in progress. We will know what I'm doing when I actually do it. That's usually how I do things. Let me see. So Aliette, you're from Germany? You're a long ways from home. Okay, so when I'm tearing paper, and this is really thick paper, I usually just wet it and tear it, but this is really thick, so it might have to like soak in there first. And I don't want any straight edges. And it usually follows the lines that you wet with water. But this paper is so thick, it's not going to do that. So I might as well just tear it, because it's not going to make any difference. Oh, the mold is from Germany? I knew it was from Europe somewhere, but LaBlanche doesn't sound like a German name, so that kind of throws me off. They really have some beautiful designs. I've seen some new designs this year that I really like too. But I bought, I think I bought almost everything out of IOD's release this year. There might be a couple of things I didn't, but it was like, good grief, I spent a lot of money. That's why you've seen me using so much of it this year. Okay, so I'm just taking this straight edge off. Okay, and now, because I don't think it's going to matter one single bit, but we'll just give it another little try. Nope, it's not going to matter, so we might as well just tear it up into different shapes and sizes. And this is an old music book. You can tell by how colored the paper is. And I've used it on a couple of projects, and I need to just print these out on rice paper with my printer, so I don't use up the whole thing on projects, because these kind of books aren't that easy to find. But I do love using music sheets as a background. I think last year I did a project where I found an old sheet of music that was Jingle Bells, and it actually had like I think it had a sleigh and stuff going across the page. It was probably from like around the 50s sometime. Late 40s, early 50s. It reminded me of things I saw in my own childhood, so that's why I don't think it was too terribly old. I don't want to tear off all of these little... I used to know what that was. Is that a music cleft? paper is kind of a little bit stiff and brittle. Okay. So I've got some satin top coat here, and that's what we're going to decoupage with. That's my go-to medium for decoupaging. I'm just giving it a good stir. And oh, let's see, maybe that one. That one's perfect. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to start down here in this corner, and I'm going to just put my decoupage medium directly on the wood. So have any of you ever used music sheets to decoupage with before? I'm going to use some plastic wrap here just to smooth it down. And there's a few little areas here from where I tore it that aren't squared off. And that will be perfectly fine because we can always go back and put some of those little scraps down. And we don't want it to all be like, I don't want it to be straight. I don't want it to be matchy-matchy. I want it to look exactly like it is. Like I had scraps and I just stuck them all on here willy-nilly. I think we'll take that one and go that way. And remember that I'm going to be painting a blue background over on top of this also. So it's going to have kind of a collage-y feel to it. A little bit abstract. Music sheets are really fun to do, and there are some, I can't think of the name of it off the top of my head, but there's a gal that I follow, and she has, I've pulled off and actually decoupaged with some of hers that she posts. She posts some for free on her website, and some she charges for. And she collects like vintage, all kinds of vintage pictures and flowers and music and, you know, like things that you would have seen in an old newspaper 50 or 70 years ago, maybe even longer. And some of them she charges for and some of them she doesn't. They'll get disturbed, so it's aggravating. And so you can kind of see it takes on its own little, you still know it's music notes, but it's taking on its own personality. And in this case, it didn't matter one bit that I didn't have any white in the background. Now, if this had been tissue paper instead of like real paper, I for sure would have painted that background white. But that's just one step we didn't have to take today. So I would turn this around so you were seeing it the same way I am. But since it's so abstract, I don't think it really matters. Let's see. I think I want to move it this way. No, I want to move it this way. Yeah, that's better. Hi, Micheline. So who else's live were you on? Were you on one of Debbie's? Both of you? There's so many great creators out there. We're so lucky that we can just watch these on our phones or on our iPads. Facebook used to be on TV, but they took it off of TV. I liked it when it was on TV. I would get in bed at night with my glass of wine and turn on TV and watch creators. Let's see, I need a piece going up this way. I think I'll do that. So tell me in the comments, you guys, what Christmas projects you've been working on. Christmas is what, 7 days away now? Mickey, you're doing cloche ornaments? I've done quite a few. Oh, you guys were watching Mara? I don't know. I thought I was going to make a lot more. I finished 2 of them off yesterday. I thought I was going to make a lot more than I actually did. But the nice thing about those cloche molds is that they will be really nice for Easter time too. Actually, for any time, because you can put any image on the inside of them. So they're like, you don't have to just do them for Christmas. And I did order some really cool jewelry. I think they were called jewelry. Maybe I have it written down on here. Jewelry bales that, I don't know if you've seen them on one of the lives, but the jewelry bales give you glue it on the back side of it. It gives you a nice little hook to hang it from. So I ordered some of those off of Amazon yesterday. I made quite a few of the tapers also. But my goodness, it takes a lot of time to do each one of them. I'm doing good just to get the lives done every week. This is kind of like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. Micheline, I don't know what the amaryllis planters were. And Valentine's too? Boy, you are ahead of the game. Tell me about the planters. So what do you guys think of this idea of using a music sheet on here? Your little planters were just wood boxes and, oh, you did black and white check on them? I bet that's super cute. Oh, I'll go look. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, those cloches, I really love the cloches. And so I did quite a few, not as many as I thought I was going to do. But I feel like that's okay. I don't feel stressed over it because, like we just said, you can use them for so many other seasons, occasions, holidays, that I don't feel stressed about it. So some of those little pieces I tore off are coming in handy to fill in little cracks on there. Another thing I like to decoupage with is patterns, you know, like sewing patterns. I love using, and I've used them in quite a few collages that I've done. But that's another really good medium. And so that's another thing when I'm at thrift stores, I look for your old patterns from like the 40s and 50s. They're a little easier to come by in thrift stores. But, you know, just keep those things in mind for background tissues. And I'm just using saran wrap just to smooth this out. Let's see. Well, Micheline, I'm so glad that you're doing some crafting. That's got to be good for you, especially right now. Maria, thank you. I think it's going to be really cute with the houses too. Especially, you know, when I paint some blue sky on there, it won't look so like, what were you thinking when you put music all over the sky? it's so funny because, you know, I'm always thinking these things through. And this morning, the only thought, I mean, I came up with this yesterday. I did the mold pieces yesterday. And so I was, you know, thinking this project through. And a lot of the times, you guys, my ideas just come while I'm working on them. But that's okay if I'm not planning a live. If I'm doing a live, I try to have it a little more thought through. And so as of yesterday, I was just going to paint a pretty blue sky. I've done that many times, kind of swirl it around with the blue and the white. So that's where I was at. And then I don't know what made me think, oh, put some music sheets on there. That would be cool. And so I dug through the music sheets and laid them on here. And I was like, oh, I really like that. That's what I'm going to do. And doing this kind of thing too is just therapeutic. It's mindless. You don't have to concentrate. You can turn on good music or a movie and just go to town. There's no right, there's no wrong. And it's just another example of all the different things that you can decoupage. I mean, I mentioned the sewing patterns make a really good decoupage. Of course, any kind of tissue paper. I like to use my jelly plate to make colors and patterns. I haven't done that for you guys in a while. Even just old newspaper, although I have a really nice newspaper that I really like to use. And I might have done that in this one, except for I've used it quite a bit, and I just thought doing the music would be something different. Especially since this isn't like so much like a Christmas piece, because this is a piece you could leave out all year round, but it still feels like a winter piece to me. And I'm super excited about using those houses. I love those houses so much. I had so much trouble getting them last year. We're just about done. Let's see. Is Gail on here? She always sneaks on and I never even know she's here. Hi, Elaine. Merry Christmas to you too. Now, if you weren't going to paint this the sky blue, another thing would be to take like the glaze, the brown glaze. We just used it last week, the Van Dyke brown glaze, and put a coat of that over this would be super pretty. If I wasn't painting my sky blue, I would definitely use the brown glaze. I was going to see, I took my cloches, I just used the brown glaze on them yesterday, and I took them in the other room so I could wrap them. Do you guys all have your wrapping done? I got packages mailed off last week that needed to get mailed, but I still have a little bit of wrapping to do. Just covering up these little edges over here just to give it a little tidier look. Okay, so we've got it all covered. And now I'm just going to put another coat on top to just give it a good seal. Because remember, I'm going to be painting over this. And I don't want my paint to like grab onto this paper. I want it to let me blend on it, you know, because I'm going to have blue sky and some clouds, so it'll have some white in it. Oh my, everything's getting expensive. It's pretty darn ridiculous. I mailed out Christmas cards. They were actual postcards that I made last year. I did a live on them. And I mailed out some last year. And I thought I only sent them to family. I thought they would have a heart attack, but they didn't even mention that they got cards from me. So I thought about doing it again this year because I have all the supplies for it. And I was like, well, they never even commented that they got cards from me last year, so I'm not even going to bother this year. I don't get cards from anybody anymore. I get a card from my daughter, which is interesting because I haven't gotten one this year. I wonder if she just didn't do one this year. I did actually pick up my mail. I'm bad about picking up my mail too. I had it sent back to the post office once because I waited so long, so I don't do that anymore. That was a real big mistake. Do you guys have any like bad habits like that? Share your bad habits with me so I don't feel so bad. Wow, 23 cards. Well, Micheline, I can understand that because all your family and friends are in Europe, so I understand that. That makes sense. Mary, I haven't started wrapping yet either. It's all on the bed in the guest room. I know it's flying by fast. It's so funny because when you're a kid, it takes forever for Christmas to get there. And then as an adult, it just flies by. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. Just let it continue to dry. And I'm going to start on these houses. And I'll decide by tomorrow because I said I made some more, and I did. If I'm going to add more or if I'm just going to use what I showed you, I don't know. I'll keep you informed. Okay, so I am thinking that I have fluff, which is a white. It's not as white as the cotton, but it's still a pretty white. And these are not white like that. They're a little bit cream. And so I'm thinking I'm going to change my mind here. I was going to use drop cloth and the fluff, but I might just, let me see what buttercream would look like. I think buttercream's just perfect. That's what I'm going to use. Apparently it's been a while since I've used it because it's thickened up on me a little bit. I'm going to put a little bit of it into this cup and just thin it down a little bit. So are you guys all hosting Christmas, or are you going to family or friends for Christmas? Okay, so I'm going to start by just coating. I'm going to put 2 coats on here, but I'm just starting by doing 1 coat. I think this buttercream is the perfect color. I was going to mix the colors to get a creamy color like this. And it's funny because the color blue that's on those houses is definitely a cobalt color. And I looked at the Dixie Belle Cobalt and it was like, nope, that's not the right blue. It's definite. Dixie Belle is definitely, that cobalt blue is not a proper cobalt. It's not deep enough. And I want to show you something that I just noticed today. I've never noticed it before. So on this little house, look how they painted those windows. All they did was take their brush and swipe down one time, 1 coat. And it's not a thick coat. Like this probably had 2 coats on the roof, but they just did the windows with a square brush and went doot. And so they, even though there's window frames there, they didn't paint them in. And they did that on this one too. So funny, I've never noticed these, that the windows were painted like that. But these windows are going to be painted properly. I am not swiping down like that. That's crazy. You can tell those were done in a factory, right? So I put each one of these just down in one of these little styrofoam food trays so that it would be easier to paint them without picking them up and moving them around. In case you decide to do this. Okay, so that's one. Don't you think these are going to be adorable as little Delft houses with a blue and white? I'm telling you, Amsterdam is honestly one of the prettiest cities I've ever seen. I visited Kukendorf Gardens while I was there. I timed my trip, the last trip there, specifically so the gardens would be in full bloom. I went to Anne Frank's and I went to Cora Ten Booms. I don't know if you're all familiar with Cora Ten Boom, but she wrote a really good book on what her experience was like during the World War II and the rounding up of all the Jewish people. And so visiting Corrie Ten Boom, and I had read her book like decades ago, but I'll tell you, having done Anne Frank and Corrie Ten Boom, if you ever go to Amsterdam and you can't do both, I really recommend Corrie Ten Boom, because even though you go into where Anne Frank's family were all hiding, and that's a good thing to see, but at Corrie Ten Boom's house, the house is exactly the same as when she lived in it. The furniture's the same, the piano is the same. Her father owned a watchmaker's shop up above, or below, and the home was up above. And that shop is still downstairs. Everything is just as it was. And that includes the slits that they put into the walls so that the people, the families that were staying with them, could get inside the walls. And then they had a fake wall that was one building connecting to another building, and they put a fake wall in there. And these people would have to stand inside those walls with little children also for hours sometimes, while the Gestapo was going through the house searching and searching for them, couldn't find them. And they couldn't pee, they couldn't eat, they had to keep their babies quiet. And when you see how little room there was inside those walls, I mean, it stops your heart. It just stops your heart. It's something you'll never, ever forget. But there's so much to see and do in Amsterdam that if you ever get an opportunity, I sure recommend it. My daughter and granddaughter and my niece and I are all talking about going to Scotland next year. I'm excited about that too. I have a lot of Scottish ancestry. Nancy, you're going to your sister's? I'm going to my daughter. I ordered it from one of the retailers that retails my decoupage tissues. I got word that she had some, and it was after Christmas last year. In fact, do you guys remember that jar that I did? I'm going to go grab that and show it to you. Let me finish this. I love that jar. But one of my retailers, I bought it from her, and then one of my other retailers that I bought all of my IOD, she asked me if I had this one, if I wanted it. So I know she has it. If you guys are interested, I'll check with her and see if she still has any. If she does, I'll put the link on here to order. She retails my decoupage tissue. So cute, these little houses. Okay, so let me go grab the one that I did on that jar. I love that jar. I'm going to bring the camera up. Okay, so this is the same, it's a little dusty. This is the same houses that we're painting on now, and I made them on the molds and then painted them. I think I glued them on and then I painted them, I think is how I did it. And I just love, okay, I'll send her a message when we hang up today. But I just love how these turned out. I just think there's so many things that you can do. And they have a Halloween haunted house one too, that I forgot I even had the Halloween one. Thanks, Nancy. I love seeing a wow. So, and it's just a glass jar I got at the dollar store. So I think I paid like $1.25 for it. But, and see, that's got a pretty blue sky on it. Painted the tree and the birds. And the fluffy clouds. It's just a fun piece. I just like it. I think those houses are very versatile. I think there's all kinds of fun things you can do with them. So we've gone an hour. I can, oh shoot, I think I want to put this paint back in here. Hang on. Hold the fort, guys. So what I was going to say, we can either stop here or I can mix up some of the blue and start, at least get one house painted with the blue on it, on the windows and stuff. So tell me what you want to do. Do you want to stop for today and continue tomorrow? Or do you want me to do one house? Yes, you can. They're just, the houses are just adorable. So when we're done here, I'll send her a message and see how many she has. Okay, Mary. Hi, Judith. All right, I'll pick one. We'll start with this one. And I'll give it a quick little dry. And I need a really good detail brush. You can see it's really a fine tip brush. I don't know if they put numbers on theirs or not. I just pick up cheap brushes at Hobby Lobby, and the print is so fine on there, I can't tell if they put numbers on them or not. Okay, and so the blue that I decided was a good blue for this is the Dixie Belle Bunker Hill blue. I think is a better blue than Dixie Belle's Cobalt. Don't you think that's a pretty good match? I thought it was too. So let me put the camera back down. Hi, Debbie. And I haven't used this color in a while either, so it needs a little mixing. And I'm just going to put some off into a cup here. So my granddaughter, the one that I posted that was singing the other day, she had a concert at school today, a Christmas concert. And thank you so much, you guys, for all your sweet comments. She does have a beautiful voice, and it gets prettier and prettier the older she gets. She's just 10. And she plays the piano, and she sang at her piano concert, and I literally had tears in my eyes. I was like, oh my gosh. And I didn't go to her performance the other night because it was at 11 o'clock at night. It was after the show was over, and that's when they have their cabaret. But my daughter videotaped it and then sent it to me, and I was like, oh my goodness. I have a hair here. Oh, there. Got it. Okay. So the chimneys on these aren't painted. The chimneys are all unpainted. Interesting. And by painting them the Delft like this, the blue, it doesn't have to just be strictly Christmas. This is something that you could leave out all year long. But you want a good detail brush to do this. These are pretty fine lines. And if you do make a mistake, you can always go back over it with your buttercream. And again, I've talked to you guys about steadying your hand or your fingers. And so this is so teeny tiny and detailed to make such a narrow line. So I just put my little finger down on the tabletop just to steady my hand. And I think even though the chimney tops, well, on 3 of them, they were left white, but one has a little blue thing on the top of it. So I'm just going to do a little blue thing on the top of this one. Doesn't have to be exact. We are creators, we are artists, so we get to make these kind of decisions. Okay, then that wood beam going across. And then a window. So, did you guys all watch Yellowstone Sunday? What are your thoughts? Super cute, huh? Thanks, Nancy. Well, I'll tell you guys the story about little Miss Aubrey. That's my granddaughter. And every child is special. So I don't want anybody to think that I'm saying she's special, because I know everybody's child is special. But she's special to us because it took her mama 8 artificial inseminations to get her. And the last one, the doctor said, this is the last time we're going to do this. If it doesn't take this time, you need to get an egg donor or adopt. And every time she had it done and it didn't take, she cried and cried and cried and cried and cried. And she just couldn't understand why God wasn't giving her a child. And so the last time they did it, it took. Number 8 worked. And she got Aubrey. And Aubrey, every child is precious, but Aubrey is really, really extra precious. And she is the sweetest girl you will ever meet. She is so kind to others, so thoughtful. And she's really talented, as you all saw. She makes really good grades in school. She's well liked at school. She plays the piano. She sings, which is what you guys all saw. She has professional acting roles in the theater at Arizona Broadway Theater. She's had several professional roles. She dances. She does ballet, tap, and jazz. So you need to have really good light here, you guys. I've got 2 lights on in here. So that's why I say she's so special, because she really was a gift from God. As every child is, but her mama had to work really hard to get her. So when you're doing details like this, just take your time. Don't overload your brush. If you need to rinse it out in between, do that. There's a little, oh, those are little door handles. Okay, and then none of these little houses have, oh, that one does have steps and they painted the steps. So I'm going to paint the steps on this one too. Otherwise they don't really show up. I have two daughters, Debbie. I have one that lives in Boise. She's the oldest, and she has 4 daughters, I'm sorry, 4. I lose track of how many grandkids and great-grandkids. There's so many great-grandkids now. She has 4 daughters. Okay, so I'm going to paint these steps. I think I'm just going to paint the fronts of them, maybe. Wowee. Those steps are really thin. Okay, so a question I have is, I'm kind of like tempted, see how there's where the brick and mortar has pulled off the house right there where I'm pointing, and then there's another spot right there. Should I just leave them like they are? Or I could take a little bit of, tomorrow when it's good and dry, I could take a little bit of that Van Dyke glaze that I was telling you about and just slightly accent it with that Van Dyke, just with a little bit of that brown glaze. Well, Micheline, I don't want to give anything away on, since you haven't watched it, so I'm not going to say anything more. Okay, so this one's all, I think I'm going to just let this dry. Mary, I think the glaze idea too. Hi, Valerie. All right, so it looks pretty close to the, look at that. The blues look pretty good, I think. cute. And at least I didn't take a brush and just paint a little square on there, for Pete's sakes. All right, I might, if you guys want to hang, thanks, Mary. If you want to hang, I'll do one more. If you guys are off to dinner or a movie or family time, I completely understand. But I have my paint and my brush, and I'm just going to make myself a grilled cheese sandwich for dinner. Oh, Mary, I would love some stir fry. How do you make your stir fry? That sounds so good. I accidentally just touched that chimney there, but I can let it dry, completely dry, and then I can touch it up tomorrow with the buttercream. So, you know, I told you that I was going to, that I'd made a Christmas tree to put in here, but it doesn't fit. And what was I saying? I just had a phone call come in. I don't know what I was saying, you guys. Do you guys know what I was saying? Oh, that's a good idea, Mary. Send me a picture of the veggies that you get at Trader Joe's. Because I would love some stir fry. Oh, the Christmas tree won't fit. So then I was thinking, okay, so this was what I was thinking. And then I lost my thought completely. Was the Christmas tree won't fit. So then I thought, well, that's okay. I'll just use one of the IOD Christmas tree stamps because there's some small ones in there and that'll work. And then I was wondering that I don't even think evergreen trees grow in Amsterdam. I'm not sure. So then is it weird because this isn't really a Christmas piece? But I kind of still want to put a Christmas tree in it. I guess when you're making it yourself, you can just do what you want, right? I need to rinse that brush. It's getting a little gloopy. So looking up on the camera, I can see that I still have dog hair and my hair all over the sleeves of this shirt. And it's really funny because I noticed it on one of my previous videos. And so today I purposely took tape to get all that dog hair off of me. And I thought I had done a good job. And now I look up in the camera and it's like, nope, you missed a whole bunch of dog hair, Deb. Scruffy sheds like crazy. So do I. I'm lucky I have any hair left on my head. One of my decoupage tissues is a picture that I took from one of the canal boats of one of the areas that we were going by, and I had it made into a decoupage tissue. It's on my website and it's on my Etsy. I just love these houses. They're so tall and thin. I have to angle it just so my light catches it so I can see where these lines are supposed to be. Oh, I love that. Well, let me know what Alexa says. That's hilarious. I was trying to see if this is like a 0-aught brush. I gotta rinse it again. I have the tiniest bit of paint on my brush. I don't know if you can see it in the camera, but I mean, it's just the teeny tiny tip of it's got paint on it. And my whole hand with the brush in it is resting flat on this table. Not just my fingertip, my whole hand. I don't know why I never thought of doing these houses as Delft until just the other day. I think the reason why I was so attracted to them in the first place is they reminded me of those houses in Amsterdam. So it's crazy that I didn't make that connection until just this week. So before you paint these, don't brew yourself a cup of coffee. Hey, Sheila. Well, we're almost done with this one. I'm on the fence about whether I should paint all of these little tiles. What do you guys think? I don't know if I should paint those little tiles or not. Nancy says no with a question mark. Micheline says wait till tomorrow. Yeah, Scruffy is like, what is going on? Okay, I'm going to take your advice and I'm going to just leave it till tomorrow and see what I think about it tomorrow. And then I will have decided tomorrow if I'm going to do a whole bunch of those little houses, like stack them all up. So I can just do one row going across here, or I can do a row going across here. And then if you guys, I'll see if I can find a picture to show you where they have like stacked them like a whole little thing of them. So I don't know yet. I have some in the molds, so I'll pop them out and I can just lay them in there and take a picture. And then you guys can tell me in the picture. I'll post it before we go live tomorrow, and then you can tell me in the picture, yeah, you like it that way and that's what you want to see, or you don't like it so much. And then we'll go from there. So let me bring up the camera. Okay, so that's it, you guys. Thanks so much for hanging in there with me for, gosh, almost 2 hours. That was a long time, you guys. I don't usually stay on that long. So you guys have a great evening. Thanks so much for following along. And if you haven't followed me, I would love it if you would. If you'd hit the follow, it's like 3 little dots and then you hit follow. That would be awesome. And if you think this is something somebody else would enjoy seeing, if you want to like sprinkle it out there, that would be cool too. You guys have a great evening, and I'll see you tomorrow, same time, same place, 4 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Bye. I'm going to, Micheline. You're voting for the whole little village? Okay. Bye. Come back again tomorrow, Nancy.